I want to introduce you to a video clip. This is a video clip that was taken at IFSEC this year, IFSEC being the major security industry conference and exhibition. And it focuses on Joe Foster, Managing Director of Safety Awareness. Safety Awareness does exactly as it says on the tin. They specialise in everything from stewarding, marshalling, anti-terrorism measures, to personal security. Now, the reason I want to focus in on this is that somewhat Joe has become a guru in terms of the sports industry. He's held positions recently with the Rugby World Cup. He's held positions with the likes of the London 2012 Olympics and the Commonwealth Games over in Glasgow. And he's certainly getting a name for himself as somebody who's an experienced practitioner in this sector. Not only does he work in sport, he works across a whole range of other organisations. He was ex-Greater Manchester Police in respect of their firearms unit, but also the tactical aid unit. He's worked with the likes of NATO. He's worked with owners of professional football clubs, some of the owners from overseas in terms of personal safety, personal security, bodyguarding. And I just think that safety awareness as an organisation is one that it's worth paying that little bit more attention to.
Regional Security Manager for England 2015 and the Rugby World Cup. My colleague Russ Robson was supposed to join us today, but he's poorly, so he's left it with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you my experience of the Rugby World Cup. I came into the organisation 10 months before completion, 10 months before tournament starts, and prior to that there'd already been a security regime and many things were put in place that were very difficult to change. So we had to go about that change process in a very sensitive way, because it's really important that you don't upset people. And in large sporting events there are very large egos, and it is very easy for them to throw the toys out the pram. So with that said, this is what I was given as my opener.
Seeing faces, showing every sort of emotion. Because I'm looking at a team, not just any team. I'm looking at the team. There will be pain, and there will be blood. But as we turn to one another, we know that each and every one of us will deliver. Because we're a team that knows it doesn't get any bigger than this. We're a team that knows that this is our chance to leave a record in the history books. You worked all your lives for this moment. Trained for it, grafted for it, sweated for it. People from Newcastle, you ready to show the world what a real Geordie welcome is? Leeds, Manchester, Brighton, you're the backbone of this land. Are you ready to stand proud? Exeter, Cardiff, Gloucester, Milton Keynes, you're our shoulders. Are you ready to carry the legion of fans who've travelled far and wide? Yes. Of course you are. And how loudly are we going to cheer at every tackle and every point scored? We're going to raise the roof on every stadium from the northeast to the southwest. So let's dare to dream. Let's dig deep. Let's make sure the hot dog is cooked on both sides. Now's the time to look into the face of every man, woman, boy, girl, person in a lycra onesie, and say, I'm not going to let this moment pass. I'm not going to stand in front of a mirror years from now and say I didn't turn up. We're going to grasp this moment with both hands. Stand tall, stand proud, stand together. And this will be the biggest and the finest and the most glorious Rugby World Cup ever. Go do it, team.
hit to miss. No pressure there then, eh? So let me just go through. Rugby World Cup 2015, 18th of September to the 21st of October, 6 weeks in total. The third biggest global sporting event going. 20 international rugby teams, 13 stadiums, 54 team bases, 55 team hotels, 20 welcome ceremonies, the Webb Ellis Trophy Tour, 48 matches including opening and closing ceremonies, bronze final and final, attended by 2.47 million spectators, global audience of hundreds of millions. In fact, the final was seen by 120 million. Security management team, 6. How does that work? The presentation is a reminder of the security strategy and aims, what we tried to achieve, issues we faced, problems we faced, solutions we used. So the host agreement, the expectation was England 2015 to provide a secure tournament, and therefore all the security of the tournament laid on our shoulders. The police were responsible for the public order side of it, and anything outside the remit of stadium, teams, officials. So it costs a lot of money to put on a Rugby World Cup, and therefore they expect to have the right security. Initially, we've got the tournament security responsibilities, that's England 2015, and the public order response was the UK police. It was to deter, deny, delay, detect against protests, ambush marketing, terrorism, theft, breach of ticketing, team intrusions. Our venues included match venues, non-match venues, team and officials, spectators and workforce, and any other business. Organisations regard security as a pain. The fact is that it's not a pain when it actually takes part. Everything, security becomes the default mode. If there's a problem with broadcasting, can security do it? If there's a problem with the hot dog sales or the queue management, can security do something about it? That's what the reality is. But in the initial stages, in the strategy stages, organisations don't feel the need for security because they're going to buy it in. They're going to buy it in from the stadium. So it's business as usual. That's never and again, and that's how it was sold to stadiums. Business as usual. So you think, it should be business as usual. We're talking about the Rugby World Cup. We're not talking about Aston Villa versus Birmingham. We're not talking about Gloucester versus Sale Sharks. We're talking about the Rugby World Cup. So we had a big uphill struggle to try and convince people that we're a key player. Risk assessment had been done, and they regarded the terrorism aspect as low to moderate. This was done in cooperation with the military and the police service. Crime, likely. Ambush marketing, likely. Breach of ticketing, very likely, severe. So terrorism, low to moderate. Ticket touts, really high on the list. Okay? And prior to the competition, there wasn't anything to suggest that there was a terrorism threat on the Rugby World Cup. And the police were quite concerned about that threat level. We thought it'll definitely go to severe, but it didn't. We did have contingencies for if it did raise, and that was backed by government, and they would supply police, military intervention at their expense. So the tournament level was moderate, and the national level was severe. That causes a problem due to the fact that you've then got to tailor your security needs for a moderate threat. So you're actually not going to 100% everything. So it's really difficult to manage that process and to work with budgets to keep it within that process. Some of the organisations had been involved in the Olympics, and they've been badly burned, with unnecessary searching, unnecessary queues, manpower that didn't turn up, and some of them had left a bad taste in the mouth. What we had to do is we had to recover that and say, we're the good guys, we're here to help you, we're not here to cause you problems. So the promise was, welcome the world to rugby and to England, everyone's invited. The security standards that we were considering were the threat, the strategic intent, the UK government, so what the police and the security services provided, advice, publication and guidance, industry best practice, global sporting event standard security operations, and understanding the existing venue operations. Some people think they can just take, cut, copy, paste, one plan to another, to another, to another. And it's happened, I definitely know, from the Olympics to Glasgow, and it did attempt to creep in at the Rugby World Cup. But we snuffed it out. Okay, because as you all know, nothing is the same. The processes might be similar, but nothing's the same. A venue is a venue is a venue. That's what they were telling us. So here's some examples of venues. Secure Bowl. That was Wembley, Olympic Park. Well, maybe Olympic Park wasn't that secure. Only joking, Chris. Chris was actually the safety officer at Olympic Park. Brighton, Leicester, Newcastle, Manchester, Cardiff, Milton Keynes. Then we've got a securable bowl with outer entry points, stroke turnstiles, Twickenham and Leeds. Then we had open 4-stand square with secure outer entry, stroke turnstiles, Gloucester. Then we had open 4-stand square with insecure outer entry points and turnstiles, Exeter. Exeter just used to lock it up and go home. Was that? Staff? No, they didn't need any staff. Yeah, enclosed 4-stand square. That was in Birmingham. So, is a venue always the same? I don't think so. So your solution's got to differ. However, each of those venues have very strong safety officers, and they were saying it's just what we do normally. Don't worry about it. So when you start to dig, some doors start to close because people don't like sharing what they've got in place or what they've not got in place, as the case may be. But we got some information, and we found out on non-match days, most of the venues had some security presence, some had access control, but not many had searching and screening. On match days, the football venues, they had away fans only for person searching, and bag searches, away fans only. So really, their home fans, they're not any trouble, are they? Fair enough. But in the Rugby World Cup, there's no segregation. There's no home team, no away team. So we had to employ a system which was transparent. So our thoughts on searching of people and bags, we searched 10% people, 100% bags. That was what it was deemed. And I said, right, okay, how do we check? That's the hard bit, isn't it? Have you done your 10%? We had all sorts of ways of trying to get assurance that that was being made. But every venue said, oh yeah, we do that. We do 20% actually. Fair enough. What you certainly didn't see was defensive searches by police. This is all Olympic Games stuff. Island sites locked down, bag and mag or tented vehicle security areas. Search and screening was random, not 100%. Material screening or vendor certification programs. We didn't even do background checks as part of the accreditation because that was deemed too high. We're at moderate threat level, let's go down the moderate route. Void sealing, we didn't do searches and then seal them up void-wise. Now, some people might be horrified with this, they might be like, oh my god, it must have been so insecure. But all our intelligence was there is moderate threat, and you can only work to what your threat level has been deemed. If you go OTT, everyone goes bonkers. We can always raise it, and that's what we always said. Match day venue, security posture. The approach was to provide a staged and tiered approach to secure venues for the tournament. Implement a proportionate and appropriate solution to security considering the current threats, and provide a show of strength and focus on presence and deterrence and measures that support our operational delivery. Smoke and mirrors. That's what it's all about. Show them something different. Because bad guys will come and wreck it weeks in advance, and then they'll come back again. Oh, it's different. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to provide it was different. And as the tournament progressed, we introduced different measures. So the semi-finals got different search regimes. The quarters, the finals, the bronze, and we introduced dogs. So it was tiered without each other. We increased manpower as we went through. So for those that don't know anything about a rugby tournament, in order to provide a game, we need pre-exclusive use, or rather exclusive use period of the venue. So pre-exclusive use, that's before we get it. Then we go into exclusive use period, we call it bumping. Then captain's run -1, we up the security a little bit. Captain's run, up it again. Match day, up it again. Down days, down it goes. Captain's run -1, down again. Captain's run, up it comes. Match day, up it comes. And bump out, down it goes. So that's basically a little roller coaster ride on our provisions. So pre-exclusive use, no security presence from England 2015. It's not our venue. Risk mitigation, housekeeping measures taken to secure England 2015 pre-installed assets. So that prior to exclusive use period, some of the FAs, the functional areas, were putting kit in. We said, do it. We just don't, we're not responsible for it. Your kit, you're responsible for it. But what we can do is facilitate the venue to help you out. And that's what we did. So we placed the emphasis on people to look after their own stuff. Because if they say, oh, security's looking after it, forget all about it, leave doors open. But when you say it's your kit, it's coming out of your budget, the managers start to jump a little bit. Well, not in a bad way. You know, we're not nasty at all. We were the oldest team in an office full of supermodels. So we were just like granddad and dad. They used to come to our desks. But we always helped them out. Match day venue security posture. Day 1 of exclusive use period. This is now ours, apparently. So we're going to go for presence, we're going to go for deterrence, so we introduced man guarding. We introduced access control. We introduced accreditation or incumbent passes. There was no search and security at this stage. Vehicles were checked to make sure they were supposed to be there. Delivery vehicles were registered on the venue delivery schedule. And we put Harris fencing or barriers or man guards at identified vulnerable points. And we focused the CCTV control and venue patrol out of hours with the emphasis on the field of play. Now, that's not business as usual, is it? Because they don't normally put someone watching the pitch all night. They say, what are we doing watching grass? Well, have you ever tried playing rugby on something that's been burnt or dug up? Never looks good on telly, that. So, captain's run -1, we up it. We up it and we provide more staff. We introduce bag and random person checks. Just get them used to it. We then look at our VAPs, so vehicle accreditation permits, and we'll do a defensive sweep of critical areas. And then what will occur is we'll carry on with the control and patrol. Captain's run. Captain's run is when the captain of the team decides what the team's going to do that day. They're going to visit the venue, they might visit it, they might not. They might just visit the changing rooms, they might take selfies on the pitch, they might do a little bit of touch, they might do a full training session, or they just might send the kickers to gauge the wind. However, we were responsible for ball privacy, making sure that no one watched what they did on that pitch. Some teams didn't mind it, other teams were absolutely bang on the money, and they were scouting around. Anyone in there who shouldn't have been in there, we got a bit of a caning. But we sorted it. 100% bag, 10% person, media entrance was guarded, and accreditation zones, field, tunnel and changing rooms were in place. The press have got 10 minutes to take the photographs and to interview the teams. That is dealt with by the press section, and start, finish, 10 minutes, see you later, get out. Off you go. But some of them try it on. They try and sneak around and take some photographs when they shouldn't be. Excuse me. But that's what we were there for, that ball privacy. Match day, we're into full business. So a defensive re-sweep of critical areas, 10% searches and screening of spectators. Also hospitality guests, with the exception of tournament guests, those VIP, there were 2 VIP to get searched. Okay? But we understand that. There had to be a covered area for hospitality guests, so we had tents. 100% bag check, 10% person, accreditation zoning, and what we did was we locked down zones 1 and 2 90 minutes before kick-off. We actually changed that to 100 minutes to give us a 10-minute sweep, due to the fact that the teams were supposed to arrive at 90 minutes. So that 10 minutes extra, sweep around, then we don't have the teams coming into an area that's dirty. And that stayed in place till 60 minutes after the game, or until the teams had left. Down days, that's when nothing's going on, but we still have to maintain the integrity of the venues. So we've reverted back to man guarding, checked authorisation, no searching and screening, vehicles to be checked in and out, deliveries, and we carried on with our CCTV control and patrol. Bump out, limited control and patrol. We really did cut down on our asset protection. However, it was down to the FAs to look after the kit again, but we did retain the right to search and undertake random screening, because we know right at the end of the tournament everyone wants to nick everything. And there was 5 match balls went missing at Newcastle, but when we searched for them, we found them. They were hidden away. No one confessed. Alright? So we know stuff like that does occur. Everyone wants a memento. They want to nick it all. Okay. So what we needed to do is we needed to introduce different methods for them. And these were our challenges. Space and search and screening at Newcastle and Millennium, very tight. In fact, it caused problems if you started queuing people. It would create bottlenecks, and the safety officer was very keen on that not to occur. So we came up with solutions. Exclusive use period. Some venues didn't give us any. Milton Keynes had a fully operational Hilton Hotel running at the same time as the Rugby World Cup. In fact, on one of the test events, the Princess Royal arrived, and people were checking in at the check-in desk while she's being escorted through. But they did have a coach in the middle to separate, this side for Hilton, this side for Royal. That was a test event. That gave us a lot of ammunition to go back to these venues and say, we can help you. Oh, didn't expect that. Oh, didn't expect this. Oh, no, don't worry about it. We can get it right. Key venues that were under construction, and they didn't even have any business as usual procedures. It was making up as you went along. Olympic Park, prime example. But if you've got a great safety officer to help you through that process, then we get there in the end. But if you've got anyone else, I would have thrown my hands in. Okay. Ability for incumbent security providers to provide necessary staff. Everyone says they can do it. Oh, we'll get the numbers. Don't worry about that. Oh, leave it with us. How can you show us? How can you prove it? Oh, we will. It'll happen. So we challenged it and challenged it and challenged it. We made some people feel very uncomfortable because they had to give us numbers on how many staff they were going to provide. Because originally they signed a contract to say that they were going to provide a sufficient staff for an elite international football or rugby event. Gloucester? Have they ever had one? I don't think so. Most of them haven't. The only ones that have are the Olympics Park and Wembley and Twickenham. So that was interesting. Training, we had our own training needs, and that was quite difficult to get across to venues. Who's paying for it? We'll pay for it. You get your staff in, we'll pay for it. Oh, alright then. So we had a training implication. Venue hire agreement, staffing levels provision. Like I said, they didn't give us any numbers. However, we pushed and pushed and pushed. We got our numbers in the end. But it was very difficult. Commitment and liability concerns amongst venues. Some venues we said, we'll give you more staff. They said, they're not our staff, they're your staff. No, they're your staff. We just want you to manage them and we'll provide them. We'll give them you. No. We don't want that responsibility. We know what we do with our staff. So that was a difficult challenge. We got over it. How do we encourage buy-in? Best thing to do, test the event. You've never had a rugby match here? Let's try it. Brighton, the Amex Stadium. Have you ever seen that place with rugby posts? Looks awesome. Awesome. Different dimension though. The stewards are trained that people don't drink in the bowl. With rugby, everyone drinks in the bowl. So they were a bit freaked out by that. I calmed them down, said it's normal, don't worry about it. I think they ran out of beer after about half an hour. That was a big shock to them. They didn't think rugby people drank so much. Oh well, they do now. So, good learning exercises. And what we did was readiness exercises. So we got the cops together, emergency services, did a tabletop, did a readiness exercise. People said, oh yeah, we do this. Some people say, you can't do that because we do this. And so it's that joined up thinking. And lots of people took lots of stuff away. We're really winning. He wants to join in. Brave or stupid or both. Okay, but that went off. The teams came in, took him off the field, and he was dealt with by the relevant authorities. But the players showed a lot of restraint, which was great on our part. At none of my venues was there any pitch invaders, and that was Olympic, Wembley, Brighton. Accreditation issues. We knew that it was going to happen. Someone would get hold of an accreditation, doctor it, and this accreditation was spotted by an eagle-eyed steward because they had security markings on them and also some raised indentations on the back of the accreditation. This one didn't have it. The steward was right on his mettle, took the pass off the dude, he ran off and was later captured, waiting for the team bus to exit. So, good result. So not all stewards are bad, they are switched on. That pass there was actually a fraudulent one of one of the teams. So how he got it, we don't know. I don't know. So, but they were able to get hold of them, and that pass, I'll just show you there. Pink, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. Pink means they can stay in those restricted zones during that period where everyone else is excluded. It's called pink privilege. And so he could have been field of play, he could have been in the changing rooms, he could have been in the tunnel. So the end result, let's have a look at this. Oh, come back. Come back. Thank you for that. Too big to miss. Just in conclusion, what I would say is don't scrimp on security. Make sure you get the right team from strategy all the way down to implementation. If you get the right team, you get the right result. You've got the right result. So everything defaults to security. And it's so true. It is really true. So, it's questions. I'm conscious of the time, but if you'd like to find out any more information about myself and Russ, we'll be available after the presentation for a coffee or maybe a beer at your expense. Okay, any questions? Is there no questions? For a second.
Thank you. I'm not a rugby person. I didn't go to any of the games, sorry, but just from that last video, particularly, that everybody had goodwill, didn't they? So I suppose you had everybody on side in a way.
Oh, absolutely. The demographics for rugby are completely different than the demographics for football. And as we can see, during the Euros at the moment, they've got far more incidents of fan intervention than we ever did. But in the rugby, they do drink a lot, they do get drunk, and they are very big. But they used to listen. Most of them are very disciplined, and when you say, "Excuse me, can you do this?" they usually conform. But you're quite right. That side of it wasn't particularly difficult. It was all the other ancillary stuff, because crowded places, that was the most intense threat. And I know after the Rugby World Cup we had the terrible incident in Paris, and I watched it and I just thought, there by the grace of God. We did do some good planning, we did put lots of good stuff in place, but to stop something like that, I don't know. Thank you.
About this thing, but going back to the organisation of it, especially the International Rugby Union and yourself, I take it you're the English Rugby Union or the F?
No.
So your position is what?
I'm the Managing Director of Safety Awareness Limited, which is a company that will provide training and staff. So I applied for a job with England 2015. I've nothing to do with the RFU or anything like that. So it was new to me.
Oh, so you were just involved in educating the locations about their security area? Is that what it was?
Yeah, we were the customer. They were the providers, we were the customer, and what we needed to do is get them to provide us with what we wanted that fitted in with England 2015 Rugby World Cup's vision.
The reason I was interested is, apart from the rugby connection, is my company do chauffeur drive, but it's the top end chauffeur drive looking after the executives, the people you're talking about, VIPs, I think they're up there. And I just wanted to see what went on in the background and everything else. So yeah, I found it very interesting.
Yeah, the VVIPs, royalty, it was different. The VVIPs, they were dropped off in a specific designated area, and on some occasions, so at Twickenham, we detailed staff to walk them in. In fact, I detailed myself to walk in Diego Maradona, because I didn't want him getting on that Argentinian bus, because he's bonkers. But he was really well mannered, and the chauffeur guys who brought him in, they were professionals to work with, so I don't have any criticism of that.
And you look like you played rugby yourself, did you?
Not very well. That's why I look like this.
Probably like myself. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and safe journey home.